Hello and welcome
Hello.
to Tales from the Shed. And we have guests in the shed again, which is really lovely because it's lovely to hear from lots of other practitioners and what they do. So we have a doctor with us today,
Yes.
Dr. Andrea.
Andrea
Haas.
Haas.
Oh yeah, please get it. That's good. I'm not very good at getting people's names right. And I understand that you have a very interesting past and you work sort of quite eclectically. So tell us about how you
start with that. Yes.
Well, thank you for asking me to come on and have a chat with you. So I always wanted to be a doctor, and I went to medical school in Southampton. But then I got very interested in the mind-body connection. I decided I was going to go into sports medicine and muscular-skeletal medicine because I was very interested in exercise and getting the body fit, and that's what I did. But my path then led me to become very interested in how the mind connects to the body and how our emotions and our beliefs affect us physically. And that was all triggered really by one of my secretaries being a Reiki master, and she just opened my mind to what else was out there apart from Western medicine.
An interesting connection because Reiki is one of the on the scale of things.
It's quite woo woo. It's quite woo woo.
Yes.
On the scale. So because very often people come in through herbs and homeopathy and then supplements and sort of different things. So that's quite a leap.
I did Reiki. I first did Reiki 1 when I was actually pregnant, and somebody just described it as a way of actually relaxing, that you could give yourself a treatment. And I was doing that 4 o'clock waking up in the morning because I had the bladder the size of a walnut and all the rest of it. So I kind of actually did that, and I just remember giving a Reiki treatment to other people, and my logical brain is going, what are you doing? Nothing is happening. What's going on? And then people would say, oh, I got this benefit from it. I'm going, oh, that's really kind of spooky. So yeah, so Reiki was your first.
Yes, but she also introduced me to a selection of books, and the first book she introduced me to was by Louise Hay, and how affirmations can affect you emotionally and physically. And I think really it was that book that started to open my mind that actually what's happening in our bodies is controlled or influenced by our thoughts and our emotions, and it's really gone from there actually. But I also worked at the Royal London Hospital for Integrated Medicine in London, which was the homeopathic hospital next door to Great Ormond Street. Was working in their muscular-skeletal department, but was surrounded by homeopaths, reflexologists, traditional Chinese acupuncturists. So again, I was open to alternative stuff, and started to realize there was much more to helping people heal than just Western medicine, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really useful tool in the box. And I always say to somebody, if you have a broken leg or you need a heart transplant, they're brilliant. But there's a lot of things, and I guess in my way, in my field, that I noticed that they're great at diagnosing, but they can't fix it. And I always say it's a bit like you've got a Formula One car and somebody that knows all about the engineering of the Formula One car, but you've given them a hammer and a screwdriver and said, go fix it. And they think, I can't. It's kind of like they don't have the tools. And I think it's wonderful that you've got all of that background, but so much more tools in your toolbox. So what sort of tools do you have? What do you turn to that you can offer and help people with?
So I trained as a hypnotherapist, and basically, really, if I go back a step, I was working with patients in the muscular-skeletal department in the London hospital, but they ended up having chronic pain. And what I realised was that I felt more like a counsellor than a doctor. So in order to understand my patients better, I then decided I'd do a psychotherapy course. But the first year was hypnotherapy, and this just blew me away. I thought, why are we not using something so powerful and simple to help people move their lives forward? So I've got hypnotherapy, but also the trainer we had for that year demonstrated EFT, emotional freedom technique. And I thought I've got to do that as well. So I then went on to train in EFT.
That's a really, really interesting one. And I really want to speak about that in detail because it's so fantastic.
Yeah, we might do that as a separate
We'll do
one.
that. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because and hypnotherapy again, it's sort of pain. We're not very good in medication at controlling pain, but hypnotherapy is amazing, isn't it?
It is, and it's unfortunately, for example, the NHS don't recognise it, although there's a lot of research out there that it does help, and that there is a lot of neuroplasticity within the brain, which makes pain worse, but also our emotions and our beliefs behind what's causing that pain. And we also know that actually what you believe that pain is doing can influence how you perceive that pain as well.
Yeah, fantastic. So what you use hypnotherapy and EFT? What other
anything else you've got in your toolbox?
Well, on a personal level, I've done a lot of coaching on myself and mindset and strategies, so I use a lot of that as well, and I'm quite open to the universe and the energy and spirituality, and what we give out we attract back into our life. So it's a very, I suppose when clients come to see me, it's a much more of a holistic approach to move them forward.
Yeah. And that's an interesting thing. So with all this whole, you've got an amazing range of kind of things that you can help people with. So, and we're kind of talking about women who are kind of like in that age, probably 35, 40s onwards. Are there any particular common things that women might present to you with that they haven't been able to get solved elsewhere?
I see a whole mixture of things, but I think with my medical background, I often get clients coming to me with a mixture of sort of physical symptoms as well as emotional things going on, so that we can relate the two and see why things have happened physically and what's gone on in the past, because there's often a trigger. My father died 5 years ago and I've not felt well since then, or there was trauma as a child, although people often think they got through that trauma on a subconscious level. They may not have done. They often come with physical symptoms, but we delve into what's been going on that might have triggered that in the first place.
So maybe like women whose children have left home or something. That could be quite dramatic.
Or they've been made redundant, or their husband walked out on them.
It sounds absolutely amazing, and I really wish that we had this more commonly in the NHS with the doctors. It sounds really good. I think what would be really nice is perhaps talking to you a bit more if you're okay with that, and looking at, there's so much of what you've mentioned that I can relate specifically, I know, to a lot of people, but to women in menopause. And it would be lovely because there's so much there emotionally with the changes that are taking place. As you say, the triggers, of physical changes, but the triggers of perhaps it coincides with other things like children leaving home, like perhaps relationships failing or changing. And that going along with the physical side of something physically changing as well. So perhaps if you're okay with that, it would be nice to sort of spend some time just talking through that specifically, if that's okay with you. Does that sound sound good? So if we, if anybody wants to contact you, I think that would be a great thing. We'll put your details up because I think that holistic approach, it's certainly I'm a homeopath, so I don't have your sort of connections with meds, but I see, like you say, so many things come around, never been well since, or I've had this 6 or 7 things, and you treat the never been well since, and these other symptoms sort of fade away. So I can really relate to where you're coming from, and it would be nice to have that look. But we'll give your details up on this particular site so people can contact you if they've got something that they want to look at holistically. And then we'll have a bit of a chat about some more specific things that you do, if that's okay. Okay.
Right.
We'll speak to you soon.